Hello and welcome to CHUMS, the specialist bereavement service for Kent and Medway. Today I'm going to be talking to you about our bereavement awareness group for parents and caregivers. The aim of our group is to promote an understanding of how children and adolescents may be affected by grief and loss, and how parents and caregivers can support their children and young people who have been affected by bereavement. Here we have a scenario. Somebody's cut their knee. What do we do in a situation like this? It may depend on the age and temperament of the child. Fundamentally, we want to provide comfort and ensure the wound is clean and tended to appropriately. Knee may seem fairly straightforward, but what if there's a wound that isn't visible? You don't know what to do. There is no fix or solution. You're injured yourself. Acute grief is like an emotional injury. As a parent or carer, it's hard to see your child in pain or distress. We want to save them from this. Sometimes we may not talk about it at all. Grieving is a unique individual journey. A bereavement can affect everyone in the family in different ways, meaning that each family member has different needs. Firstly, let's think about what might some of the feelings of parent or carer feel when your child's grieving. Worry, upset, anger, frustration, powerlessness, guilt, hopelessness, panic, sadness, fear, stress, concern, questions. Any other emotion could go on this list. One of the biggest questions we have is, what can we do to help? Reassurance, understanding, support from family and friends and other services, and attending to your own emotional well-being and health. CHUMS can help you with signposting, psychoeducation, and just attending this workshop itself can be a great opportunity. In the next few slides, we'll start to consider what typical feelings and behaviours for children affected bereavement we could expect, and how can we as parents and caregivers respond helpfully and skillfully to support our young people through their grief. First, we'll look at preschool age. This is around 3 to 5 years. Some of these behaviours you may notice, or maybe some you don't. That's okay. May see behaviour changes such as becoming more irritable, more tantrums. The young person may cry more, be more clingy, more fearful. Separation anxiety that perhaps they've got over may start to come back, maybe even appear for the first time. Looking for the person who's died, they're unable to understand that death is permanent and concrete, and it's as a parent and caregiver to keep reinforcing can be difficult for us too. Changes in their eating and sleeping patterns, or even regressing to early behaviours that milestones they'd already achieved, like bedwetting, can reoccur. How we can help? We can provide honest and age appropriate information, keeping their routine as consistent as possible, reading age appropriate books about the life cycle and death. CHUMS can recommend some resources too. Model using our own feelings and words to help them name their feelings. Give them regular opportunities for creative play and active play. Be supportive and encouraging. Next, we'll look at school age children aged around 5 to 12 years. Some of the behaviours you may experiencing are developing of new fears and worries. These could be related to death, or they could be something else. Becoming more clingy and not wanting to be separated from a parent or caregiver. Struggling with schoolwork or homework. Becoming easily distracted, forgetful, struggling to concentrate. Becoming irritable, angry, or disruptive. Complaining of physical problems, for example, tummy aches, headaches. A loss of interest in friends or hobbies. Beginning to feel depressed, emotionally numb, or guilty over what's happened. How we can help. Reassure them of who there is to care for them. This isn't just at home, but in school when they're away from you. It's common for children who want to know who will look after them when you die. Keeping routines and behaviour expectations consistent. Include them in planning if there's a funeral or any commemorative event if possible. making a memory box together, encouraging exercise and play opportunity, invite conversations and questions about the person who died, provide worry time, regular opportunities for you both to sit down and talk about any worries or fears. Next, we have teenagers, 13 plus. Some of the behaviours we may see are changes in behaviour, such as becoming more irritable or challenging, withdrawing from family and friends, time they'd usually spend downstairs with you, up in their room, shutting the door, difficulty concentrating, more fidgety, restlessness. This can, lead to them getting in trouble at school and sort of escalate and make things worse. Things can sort of snowball then. Not wanting to speak about any emotions, concerned other family members' feelings and well-being, more risk averse, worried for safety, or opposite, could be risk taking, pushing boundaries in a way that they never used to. Confidence and self esteem can be affected, changes to eating and sleeping again, may have start having their own thoughts of death or suicide, complaining of physical problems, stomach aches, headaches, nightmares, vivid dreams, beginning to question their mortality and spiritual religious beliefs. How we can help is again providing honest, age appropriate information. We always recommend to be open and honest as we can and is age appropriate. Otherwise, it can just cause further upset and trauma down the line if they hear something from someone else. Including them in planning for funerals, commemorative events, listening in a non-judgmental way. Let them know that they can share anything with you. Talking about the death, beliefs, normal grieving emotions, providing information, books, leaflets, websites, resources, we can help with that. Help them identify who they can talk to and share if they're struggling, friends, extended family, school, members of staff. And, if anything's persisting, you can seek help from professionals such as like GP, bereavement services such as us, mental health apps. Sometimes scenarios can help us with our understanding of grief and that grieving journey more. So, let's imagine if that you're in a room which starts to shake, furniture is crashing around you, and then suddenly it stops. Physically you're unharmed, but the room is a mess. What are we going to do next? Here are some ideas. We're going to start to pick things up, restore the room, ensure we're in a safe environment. Check on others in the house or the area. We're ensuring that our key relationships are safe and consistent. Find out more information. We want to know what happened. What area did it affect? Who else was affected? We're trying to make sense of what happened or have a coherent narrative of developmentally appropriate information. Check if there is news of another event. Praise future safety and well-being of self and family. And then process what's happened. We might want to go over the story with friends and family repeatedly. If you're creative, you might want to write or draw about this event. Bereavement causes enormous emotional and mental upheaval, as well as sometimes impacting daily life in more practical ways, such as housing, care arrangement, daily routines. All of this can be thrown up in the air and bring about more change. Ultimately, to help our children and young people, we want to reinforce their feelings of safety. We can do this by maintaining routines, keeping consistent boundaries and responses, rebuild their confidence that there is some order and predictability. Support them through the relationship. Be calm, not reactive to behaviour or strong emotions. Be empathetic, noticing their feelings and helping them name emotions and experience. Provide regular one-to-one time, doing activities which soothe or add a sense of positive well-being. Encourage regular exercise, activities which distract or soothe, healthy eating and sufficient sleep. Share memories and stories. You can share photos, collages, memory books, listen to music, watch your favourite film together. Normalise grief through reading about bereavement or hearing others share similar experiences. Include them in commemorative events and ask for their input in an age-appropriate way. And make sure they know they can ask any question or talk about the person. You can do this, with specific worry time, have a post box or non-verbal cues to start conversations. Sometimes talking may be too directive. Can we pass a note, share an emoji? Our workshop provides a great opportunity for parents and carers to share, if only if they feel comfortable. We'll ask them, what have you tried that was helpful? What challenges do they find most difficult to manage? And how are you looking after yourself? And finally, are there any questions you have for us? Feel free to email us at info@chums.uk.com.